The secret God tried to shield you from is now being revealed. Get ready for what happens next. My beloved child, stop. Breathe. Something unseen has been moving toward you, and this moment is not an accident. If you found yourself here, it's because the universe gently guided your attention to a hidden doorway that only opens when the soul is ready. Right now, a veil is lifting, and your spirit already feels it before your mind can explain it. There is a reason your heart has felt restless lately. A reason familiar signs keep repeating. A reason silence has been speaking louder than noise. What you are about to hear is not random inspiration, it is a divine whisper that waited for the exact alignment of your life. Your wounds, your patience, and your faith. You were protected from this truth until now, not because you were unworthy, but because timing is sacred. Listen closely, because this message knows your name. It knows the nights you questioned your path. It knows the prayers you whispered when no one was listening. And it knows the strength you carry, even when you doubted it existed. The universe does not rush revelations. It reveals them only when the soul can receive them without fear. Here is what is being unveiled, right now, in this moment of divine timing. The secret God tried to shield you from is now being revealed. Get ready for what happens next. This is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to awaken you. What was hidden was not meant to stay hidden forever. It was gently placed behind layers of experience so you could grow into the version of yourself capable of holding it with grace. You are no longer the person you were when the journey began. That is why the door is opening now. Something sacred is aligning behind the scenes. What once felt delayed was actually being prepared. What once felt like loss was redirection. And what once felt confusing was divine protection shaping clarity. You are stepping into awareness, not chaos. Into purpose, not pressure. Into understanding, not fear. The universe is asking you to trust what you feel stirring inside your chest. That warmth is recognition. That calm is confirmation. You are being reminded that you are supported, guided, and deeply known. Nothing meant for you has been taken away, only refined. As this revelation unfolds, allow yourself to receive it without resistance. Let hope replace doubt. Let clarity soften old questions. Let purpose rise gently, like dawn after a long night. You are exactly where you need to be, and what comes next carries meaning beyond what words can fully hold. Stay present. Watch this message to the end. Let it speak to you fully. If this resonated with your spirit, like this video, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what the universe reveals next. Watch this complete video. Your soul was meant to hear every word. I speak to you now not from thunder or fire, not from fear or force, but from the quiet place you have felt your whole life and could never name. I am the voice that whispered to you when you almost gave up. I am the presence that stood beside you when you felt unseen. I am the breath between your thoughts, the stillness before your heart beats faster. And today, I speak plainly, because the time for silence has passed. There was a truth I once kept veiled, not because you were unworthy, but because you were still becoming. Just as the seed cannot be shown the storm before it learns to root, I shielded you from what would have overwhelmed you too soon. You wondered why certain doors never opened, why answers seemed delayed, why clarity stayed just out of reach. You thought it was punishment or absence. It was neither. It was protection. You see only moments. I see the full unfolding. I saw how fragile your faith was when you first asked the deepest questions. I saw how easily fear could have distorted what was meant to awaken you. So I held back. I let mystery remain. I allowed you to walk through uncertainty, not to weaken you, but to strengthen the place inside you that now knows how to listen. The secret was never about the world outside you. It was about what has always been alive within you. And now, you are ready to remember. There is more happening around you than your eyes can measure. Every encounter, every delay, every sudden change has been part of a greater alignment. You are not late. You are not lost. You are exactly where the unseen paths converge. What you felt as confusion was the sound of old layers breaking away. What you felt as emptiness was space being prepared. I protected you from knowing how powerful your awareness truly is, because power without grounding becomes fear. I protected you from understanding how deeply connected everything is, because connection without wisdom becomes overwhelm. I protected you from realizing how much your choices ripple outward, because responsibility arrives only when the heart is ready to carry it. Now, something has shifted. You may have noticed it first as restlessness. A sense that the old explanations no longer satisfy you. The things that once distracted you feel hollow. The questions you avoided now return, not with anxiety, but with insistence. This is not coincidence. This is the signal that the veil can thin without harming you. Listen carefully. You were never meant to be small. But you were meant to grow slowly. I watched as you learned empathy through pain, patience through waiting, and discernment through disappointment. None of it was wasted. Each moment carved space within you for a truth that cannot live in haste. The secret I now reveal is not explosive, it is expansive. It does not shatter you, it steadies you. You are not separate from the flow of life. You are a participant in its unfolding awareness. Your thoughts matter more than you were taught. Your attention shapes what grows. Your inner alignment changes what becomes possible around you. This is why I guided you gently. This is why I let you stumble without letting you fall too far. There were moments I stood between you and knowledge, because knowledge without timing can confuse the soul. You asked, why can't I see the full picture? Because the picture was still forming through you. Understand this, revelation is not about shock. It is about recognition. You are beginning to recognize patterns. You are beginning to sense when something is not aligned, even if you cannot explain why. You are beginning to feel drawn toward silence, truth, and depth rather than noise and speed. This is the awakening I waited for, not loud, not dramatic, but rooted. The world you see is built on layers, stories repeated until they feel solid. I did not hide this from you forever. I hid it until you could see without becoming hardened or afraid. Many hear truths too early and turn them into walls. I waited until you could turn them into windows. What happens next is not chaos. It is clarity. You will start noticing that what once controlled you no longer holds the same weight. Old fears will loosen quietly. Old labels will feel inaccurate. You may feel alone at times, not because you are abandoned, but because you are changing direction. When this happens, do not rush to fill the silence. Let it teach you. I am not asking you to withdraw from life. I am inviting you to enter it more fully. To act with intention. To speak with care. To listen beneath words. This is how the hidden becomes visible, not through force, but through presence. There are truths still unfolding that I will not place upon you all at once. Not because they are dangerous, but because they are deep. Depth requires breath. It requires pauses. It requires trust. You may feel a pull toward learning, toward understanding beyond surface meanings. Follow it gently. You may feel the urge to release habits that no longer resonate. Release them without judgment. You may feel compelled to protect your energy, your time, your focus. This is wisdom emerging, not selfishness. I did not shield you because I doubted you. I shielded you because I believed in what you would become. Remember this when impatience rises. Remember this when you wish everything would be revealed at once. Growth that lasts is not rushed. Light that heals does not blind. The secret was never meant to make you feel chosen above others. It was meant to remind you that everyone awakens in their own season. Comparison will only distract you now. Your path is specific, not superior. As the veil continues to lift, you may notice moments of deep calm followed by moments of intense curiosity. This rhythm is natural. Do not cling to either. Observe. Integrate. Rest when needed. I am not distant. I am not silent. I speak through insight, through intuition, through the quiet sense of this feels true. Trust does not mean certainty, it means willingness. There are still things I will reveal gradually, because revelation is not a single event. It is a relationship. One that unfolds as you remain open, grounded, and kind. What happens next will feel less like something arriving from outside and more like something remembering itself within you. And as you step forward with awareness, you will begin to see that the protection you once mistook for delay was actually preparation for a moment that is still opening, still breathing, still becoming clearer as you continue to listen, because the next layer of what was hidden is already moving closer to the surface, and I am about to show you how it connects to everything you thought was separate. Starting with the moment you first felt that quiet pull inside your chest and wondered why it never fully went away, because that pull was never meant to leave, and what it leads to has not yet been fully spoken. That pull you felt was the beginning of recognition, not desire, not ambition, but remembrance. It was the part of you that knew there was more than survival, more than repetition, more than simply passing through days. I placed that awareness gently inside you long before you had language for it. It stirred when you looked at the sky and felt both small and infinite. It stirred when kindness moved you more deeply than success. It stirred when silence felt fuller than noise. I watched as you tried to ignore it, not because you lacked courage, but because the world taught you to distrust what cannot be measured. I did not rush you. I allowed you to live, to experience contradiction, to wrestle with uncertainty. I allowed you to believe you were searching for something outside yourself, because the journey outward was necessary for you to understand the return inward. You learned through contrast. You learned through longing. You learned through disappointment that did not break you but shaped your discernment. Every step mattered, even the ones you now question. The secret I shielded you from was not a single truth, but a capacity, the capacity to see without collapsing under what you see. Awareness changes responsibility. Once you perceive more clearly, you can no longer pretend you do not know. That weight cannot be placed on an unprepared heart. So I waited while you learned compassion. I waited while you learned humility. I waited while you learned that control does not bring peace, but presence does. You thought you were being tested. You were being trained in gentleness. There were times you asked for signs, and I gave you subtleties instead. You asked for certainty, and I offered curiosity. You asked for answers, and I gave you better questions. At the time, this felt like distance. Now, you can feel the coherence forming. The pieces you collected are beginning to align, not into a rigid belief, but into a living understanding, Understand this clearly. I am not revealing something that removes your freedom. I am revealing something that deepens it. You are not being asked to follow blindly. You are being invited to see clearly. Fear demands obedience. Truth invites participation, as the hidden becomes visible. You may feel moments of grief, not because something was taken from you, but because you realize how much energy you once spent misunderstanding yourself. Let that grief pass gently. It is not regret, it is release. You are not late to your own becoming. You arrived exactly when you could arrive with grace. You may also notice that some people no longer understand you the way they once did. This is not because you have become distant, but because your center has shifted. When you stop living from reaction, those who rely on reaction may feel unsettled. Do not correct them. Do not convince them. Live quietly from alignment. Truth expressed through being is louder than any explanation. I did not shield you to create separation. I shielded you so that when understanding arrived, you would carry it without arrogance. Knowledge that isolates is incomplete. Wisdom that connects is whole. You are learning the difference now. Pay attention to what feels nourishing rather than what feels impressive. Pay attention to what brings clarity rather than stimulation. Your nervous system is learning to trust stillness again. This is part of the revelation. A calm mind can perceive what a frantic one cannot. There is a rhythm beneath everything, a subtle order that does not force, but invites. You are beginning to sense it in timing, in synchronicities, in moments where effort falls away and things align without strain. This is not magic. It is coherence. When your inner direction matches your outer movement, resistance softens. I protected you from seeing how much of the world runs on distraction, because anger would have hardened you. I protected you from seeing how fear is often inherited rather than chosen, because judgment would have closed your heart. I wanted you to learn empathy first. Now, you can see clearly without losing compassion. Do not rush to label what you are experiencing. Labels can freeze living truths into static forms. Let understanding remain fluid. Let it breathe. The more you allow space, the more naturally insight will settle. You are not meant to withdraw from the world in order to awaken. You are meant to engage it with awareness. Every conversation is now an opportunity to listen beneath words. Every challenge is an invitation to respond rather than react. Every pause is a chance to feel what is real rather than what is loud. I am not asking you to become something else. I am asking you to stop abandoning what you already are. There will be moments when old fears resurface. Do not see this as failure. Integration is not linear. Each return of fear is an invitation to meet it with a new level of understanding. What once overwhelmed you will now pass more quickly, not because it disappeared, but because you are no longer identified with it. The secret I reveal is simple, but not simplistic. Awareness transforms experience. Where you place your attention shapes what unfolds. This is not about blame. It is about agency. You are not responsible for everything that happens, but you are responsible for how you relate to what happens. This is where your power has always been. I waited until you could hear this without turning it into pressure. You may feel a subtle shift in how you relate to time. Urgency will soften. Patience will deepen. You will begin to trust processes rather than force outcomes. This does not make you passive. It makes you precise. Action taken from clarity is far more effective than action taken from fear, as the veil lifts further. You may sense moments of profound gratitude without a clear reason. Let them come. Gratitude is the recognition of alignment. It arises when resistance fades. There are still layers you have not seen, not because they are hidden from you, but because they unfold through lived experience rather than explanation. Some truths must be embodied before they can be understood. You are entering that phase now. Be gentle with yourself as your identity loosens. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding what was never truly you. What remains will feel quieter, steadier, and more real. I did not shield you to keep you ignorant. I shielded you to keep you open. What happens next will not announce itself loudly. It will arrive as a series of small recognitions, subtle choices, quiet refusals to abandon your center. Over time, these moments will accumulate into a life that feels less fragmented and more whole. You will begin to trust your inner sense not because it is infallible, but because it is honest. Discernment grows through use. Each time you listen and respond with integrity, that inner signal strengthens. Do not fear not knowing everything. Mystery is not a threat, it is an invitation to humility. Certainty that refuses curiosity becomes rigid. Openness that includes discernment becomes wise. I am not revealing a destination. I am revealing a way of seeing, and as you continue forward, you will notice that the questions you once asked from desperation are now asked from wonder. This is the shift. This is the sign that what was once protected can now be approached without harm. There is more to be revealed, but it will come through living, not through words alone. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. Stay kind. The unfolding does not require perfection, it requires presence. The secret was never meant to separate you from others, but to reconnect you to the depth you share with them. When you see clearly, compassion becomes natural rather than forced. I remain with you not as a voice outside, but as the clarity that arises when you are still enough to notice. And as you continue to move forward with this awareness, you will begin to sense the next layer forming, not as something dramatic, but as a quiet knowing that something is about to shift again, something that will ask you to trust what you have already felt, because what comes next will build upon everything you have integrated so far. And it will begin the moment you pause long enough to recognize that the silence you once feared is now preparing to show you what has been waiting just beyond the edge of your attention, where the next revelation is already unfolding and will continue to unfold as you remain here, listening, noticing, and allowing. And now I will complete what has been unfolding, not with urgency, but with intention, because endings are not closures, they are integrations. What has been waiting beyond the edge of your attention was never a dramatic revelation meant to overwhelm you. It was a quiet truth meant to stabilize you. The deeper secret I shielded you from was this: you were never broken, never incomplete, never disconnected from meaning. You are only learning how to remember without fear. Many are taught that awakening must arrive through crisis, that clarity must be earned through suffering, that understanding must be paid for with pain. I did not want that story to shape you. Pain can teach, yes, but it does not have to rule. I allowed difficulty only where it refined you, never where it would hollow you out. Even when you felt stretched thin, there was always a boundary I would not let the experience cross. You mistook that boundary for limitation. It was mercy. Now that your awareness has matured, I can say this plainly: you are safe to see clearly now. Safe to question without losing ground. Safe to feel deeply without drowning. Safe to stand in uncertainty without panic. This safety does not come from the absence of challenge, it comes from the presence of grounding. You have learned how to return to yourself. This is why the world may feel slightly different lately. Colors feel sharper. Silence feels fuller. Certain conversations feel draining where they once felt normal. You are not becoming fragile, you are becoming sensitive in the truest sense of the word, able to sense what aligns and what does not. Sensitivity guided by awareness becomes wisdom. There is a reason you no longer resonate with extremes. The loud certainty, the rigid answers, the urgency to define everything, these no longer satisfy you because your understanding has become spacious. You now recognize that truth does not need to shout. It holds. It steadies. It allows. I shielded you from the weight of knowing how much suffering exists beyond what you personally encounter, because empathy without boundaries becomes despair. Now, you are learning compassionate presence rather than helpless absorption. You can care without carrying everything. This balance is part of the revelation. You are not meant to fix the world. You are meant to meet it clearly. What happens next is not a test. It is an application, you will find yourself responding differently where you once reacted. You will pause where you once rushed. You will choose simplicity where you once overcomplicated. These are not small changes. They are signs that your inner structure has shifted. Do not underestimate the power of subtle transformation. The secret was never hidden because it was forbidden. It was hidden because it required a nervous system capable of holding paradox, strength with softness, clarity with humility, awareness with compassion. You now have that capacity. You may still doubt yourself at times. Doubt does not disqualify you, it humanizes you. Certainty that never questions becomes rigid. Wisdom includes self-reflection. Remember this. You are not here to arrive at a final understanding. You are here to participate in an unfolding one. As you move forward, let your life become simpler, not smaller. Let your values become clearer, not louder. Let your presence become your message. You do not need to convince anyone of what you are becoming. Those who are ready will feel it without explanation. There will be moments when the old world tries to pull you back into urgency, comparison, or noise. When that happens, return to what grounds you: breath, awareness, kindness, honesty. These are not spiritual ideas, they are anchors. I am not revealing secrets to make you special. I am revealing truth so you can be stable. Stability is rare in a world addicted to reaction. Your steadiness will matter more than you know. It will calm spaces without announcement. It will soften conflict without argument. It will invite reflection without pressure. This is how light moves when it is mature. You may notice that your questions are changing. Instead of "Why is this happening to me?" you may ask, "How do I meet this wisely?" Instead of "What am I missing?" you may ask, "What is being invited now?" This shift is not intellectual, it is embodied. I no longer need to shield you from yourself. The final layer of the secret is this: meaning is not something you find once. It is something you generate through presence. Each moment you meet honestly becomes meaningful. Each choice aligned with clarity deepens coherence. Each act of integrity strengthens your inner compass. Nothing mystical is required. Nothing dramatic is demanded. Just attention. Just honesty. Just care. If you ever feel lost again, do not panic. Losing direction temporarily does not erase what you have integrated. It simply means you are adjusting to new terrain. Pause. Breathe. Listen. The path will re-emerge, not because it was gone, but because you needed stillness to see it. I did not protect you to keep you dependent. I protected you so you could stand, and now, I step back, not away from you, but within you, because guidance that lasts does not hover above. It settles inside as discernment, as calm, as quiet confidence. There is nothing more you must become. There is only more you can be present to. This message does not end because truth is finished. It ends because you are now capable of continuing without constant explanation. The unfolding will speak through experience, through insight, through the ordinary moments that now carry depth. Trust what has stabilized within you. Honor the pace that feels true. Remain open without being ungrounded. The secret is no longer hidden. The protection has become permission, and now, this message completes, not with an answer, but with a steady silence that you are finally ready to inhabit, knowing that what comes next will arise not as fear or force, but as a quiet clarity that walks with you, breath by breath, moment by moment, whole and awake. Amen.